Hello guys and welcome to my budget deck channel. Today with a little bit of a different kind of thing. It's more of a budget meets theory craft video, because you can already see the deck doesn't look super cheap. I obviously came up with some cards that you can play so to make it a little bit cheaper, but in total the cards that add up here are gonna cost more. Probably this deck would be around like 80 to 130 bucks in total if you actually played it like this, because this cheeky little guy here, Cyber Emergency, is about 20 to 25 bucks a card, which I do not want to play in my deck. You can obviously go for Cyber Repair Plant. It does essentially the same thing, but requires a little bit of setup actually, so it's not always that great. This deck is meant to be a go second variant, so what is kind of confusing is you don't see any hand traps or any form of disruption. You basically let your opponent play the game and then see how much you can crack them open with this deck, which I think it works better than it looks like. It looks really strange, I admit that, but well, you know, first of all, if you don't want to run Garnet, there's obviously other cards that you can use. Just make sure it's one Gem Knight monster, I guess. Should work out, right? Should work out. And since it's level 4 stuff, people usually, and it has the highest attack value, people tend to go for this card, but whatever you want to go for is fine with me. Cyber Iltanin, basically a card that, since it's searchable, it's a total board clear, not that hard to get out. It's like a one card special summon kind of thing, so I felt like this card actually works in the deck pretty well, especially if you're aiming to break boards and it's searchable, so why wouldn't you? Shadow Beast and Shadow Dragon for the Shadow Fusion. Since you're going second, your opponent most likely is gonna have a monster special summon from the extra deck. If not, you mainly want to do some side deck kind of shenanigans then, or hope that you somehow draw into a Shadow Beast or a Dragon when you have your fusion in hand. Triple Cyber Dragon, first of all for the Cyber Dragon engine, second of all basically for Mega Fleet as well, because you can even think about putting Mega Fleet to 3. That would work as well. You can technically, I don't wanna jinx it up, but you can technically cut out the dominance, that's his name, to play a double Mega Fleet, because it actually comes in handy quite a lot of the time if you're not finishing within one turn. Triple Galaxy Soldier, because you have a lot of light cards in the deck. You have a lot of light cards that actually want to be in the graveyard, for example, like stuff like Cyber Dragon Core, possibly, like Trick Clown, Damage Juggler has a chance in the graveyard. Even Raiden has to do something in the graveyard, if I'm not completely wrong here, and the Cyber Dragon hurts. So this card will mainly find its targets. If not, there's still a lot to do with this card in general. Even if you only get one out and have another Cyber Dragon, that can help you, and even your Cyber Dragon hurts makes excuse me, makes it a little bit better in that sense. Destiny Hero, Dynattack, basically to complete the Destiny Fusion Destiny for the combo with Dystopia. And you could go for Malicious. I decided that would clog up the deck a little bit too much, so I went for the draw guy, because it puts a extra body on board, and if you want to get the draw, you can get the draw. Plus, talking about draws, Celestial in your next turn gonna give you a few more draws, plus keeping the whole like rank 4 engine alive if you actually want to go for that from time to time. Dynattack is 1000 damage extra as well if you need them ever as the discard effect in hand, so it's not completely useless in hand. I should already talked about this. This card is searchable off of the Charge of the Light Brigade, which I run because you have a lot of cards that actually do things in the graveyard, like Core, like Herds, like if this card gets milled and you then search Lumina, that can be a neat combo. Trick Clown, Damage Juggler, that stuff in the graveyard. There is some things where it actually doesn't matter. Draw Guy actually isn't too bad in the graveyard either. So there's things that you can do. If you want to play more of a variant without the Lightsworn engine, that can be done as well. I wouldn't mind that too much. If you want to play like Triple Effect Veil and Triple Ash or something for this, or Double Ash, then you could do this as well. But actually this card came in more handy than I think. And if you play against an opponent that doesn't really know what you're playing, this might get ashed one or another time. So getting 3 mils for free is kind of neat from sometimes. So let's continue with the deck. Damage Juggler, basically for the mill, you run Shadow Fusion, you have a Construct, so search in either Hat Tricker or Trick Clown can be super nice. Hat Trick you'll basically always get off if you go on second, because your opponent will have a lot of monsters on board, enabling you to play some rank 4s, enabling your link plays basically. So I really like this card. Orphoscopio is your normal summon basically, because you have not much that you actually want to normal summon this deck, maybe besides Cyber Dragon Core. And if this card gets negated or whatever, you at least get this card, which can come in handy with a lot of cards as well. Plus, this card helps you search so many cards in this deck: Fusion Destiny, Shadow Fusion, Cyberload Fusion, and Brilliant Fusion are all cards that you can search for this card. You can put in double Super Poly if you decide not to go for the Lights 1 engine, play double Super Poly, switch out some cards in the extra deck for this, and you are fine because you can search this as well. The Shadow Fusion is basically getting rid of opponent's monsters, or stalling a little bit when you know a Winder is hitting them quite hard. Shoving a Winder down at the end of your turn can actually seal the game for you from time to time. Fusion Destiny if you want a disruption, plus a high attack point beater with 1600 damage, or if you want to make sure your opponent doesn't draw anything useful next turn, or want to just get a card when you destroy a monster by battle, that can be helpful as well. Or when you fill up your graveyard, dig thin a little bit. Emergency Cyber, Cyber Emergency, or Cyber Repair Plant, basically there to search your field wipe or to search your Cyber Dragon. So there's a lot of things that you can actually do. You can't sadly search Galaxy Soldier because you can normal summon him, so that doesn't really count for it. But still, being able to search Cyber Dragon isn't all that bad. Already talked about Charge of the Light Brigade. Cyberload Fusion if you want to go into the Rampage Dragon to finish off the game, get rid of back row. This card can come in handy since it's a quick spell. Usually monster you control can't attack for the rest of this turn, so if you want to use it, then use it at last in the battle phase, possibly using cards like your Cyber Dragon Sieger for it, because the Mega Fleet Dragon cannot be used as a fusion material. Always keep that in mind. One Brilliant Fusion, because getting a second normal summon can be quite neat in the deck actually, because, well, you have two normal summon monsters, Cyber Dragon Core, Orphoscopio, and a lot of people will try to negate this because they might think you have some kind of place with this, or maybe with the normal summon, but they'll be surprised that you'll just use it for some kind of link shenanigans possibly. Then for the extra deck one, Dominance, basically already explained what that is for. Mega Fleet is pretty obvious. A Construct getting you access to your lights monsters, which works pretty well if you, for example, I'll just start with Charge and Shadow Fusion. Then you can search your Lumina and then mill your Raiden with the Shadow, like the Shadow Fusion. So you can go for like a rank level 7 synchro and nuke the board if they let you do that. There's multiple different ways how you can get this specific combo off, because you have cards to put into the graveyard. Since Seraphinite wants a light monster into the graveyard as well, all you need to have is Lumina in hand or a Charge, and access your Brilliant Fusion or Shadow Fusion, and you basically have level 7 synchro. You can go for any, but I felt like that was the most useful in this deck. Already talked about all of those cards. You can easily make Nova and Infinity. Nova, if you actually want to go for an OTK, this card can be quite helpful. And Cyber Dragon Infinity, your opponent maybe tries to stop you from going into this because yoinking a monster from your opponent while having also negate can be quite powerful. So this is a power play at the start with Galaxy Soldier, so your opponent's going to be like, not sure if I want to let him do this. Baguska if you have to stall, but you can play any other rank 4. I thought about maybe going for the Utopia engine, but having another brick in this deck might feel a little bit too bricky then at points. The deck actually doesn't brick as much as you think it is because you have a lot of one-card combos, but still can be annoying from time to time. Exit and Knight go in second, can break boards. You want to recycle through a lot of your resources, so chances that your opponent has a bigger board and hand size than you are quite likely. Make Knight Crusader Astrum, so you can use stuff like your Mega Fleet Dragon possibly if you're ever gonna get into Link 4. You can basically splash in any other cards. B-Corp is just because it needs 2 monsters, so it is quite specific in that sense, or even not. That's actually what you're going for. Sieger, so you can get rid of your Mega Fleet and just go for like high attack points if you can't get rid of an opponent's monster in any other way. You can obviously run the other Shadow Fusion cards, that the Earth one. You can then play stuff like Glow Up Bulb if you want to. You could put a Wolf in if you're going for the mill kind of thing, or going for more rank 4 engine. You could play the Light Swan Link monster, but I felt like it didn't do much in this deck. So Yugioh comes to mind. Ball Sword if you have access to it, it's never a bad card. Super Poly works pretty well in this deck. So this deck has a lot of potential while potentially being quite cheap and surprisingly effective in what it does. I'm trying to show you some replays possibly if I get the time in and actually get good matches, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro is about a lot of people quitting, or either they play like super broken stuff and you just draw back, then you just sit through it and do nothing, or you for once would have a good hand and then they're playing some kind of jank deck which you would beat with Atlantean, pure Atlanteans or something like that. So you know the struggle on YGO Pro. So there's that. I hope you enjoyed the deck profile. If you're actually looking for budget deck profiles, check out my channel. I've got a lot of them. I am open to requests if you want me to do anything in specific. And like the video, share, subscribe, do all kind of things. And I hope you have a good day.